Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 16 of the Pro Extinction podcast with Steve and James. Today, we're diving into an important scientific topic, materialism and determinism in relation to ethics and extinctionism. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah, I think both of these concepts are they might like materialism and determinism might sound like they are some sort of philosophy thing or whatever, but I think they are not at all philosophical terms, and they are very scientifically grounded. They are actually natural laws, to be really honest, uh, quite literally. So I think it's not just about so today we are not just going to discuss about their what are they, and how it applies to ethics. We are also going to discuss how uh, people who are extinctionists, who are taking the science path, should actually integrate it into their research. So so I think starting with materialism, right?
Okay.
So materialism is like really, really like simple thing. It might sound like a complex word, but to put it in layman's terms, or like maybe like I'm teaching a kindergarten child, right? So materialism says that magic doesn't exist. It's as simple as that. So
Right.
everything in our world is made up of matter and energies which function according to natural physical laws, and basically there is nothing paranormal, right? So materialism is the very base upon which science is built on. So it is the only thing that separates actual science from pseudoscience, from the paranormal, from the supernatural, from the spiritual, right? So someone who is not a materialist can believe in like maybe ghosts, right? So, but it's not scientifically grounded. So we have science, and it is unraveling all the laws by which existence works. So for example, everything used to be like idealistic, spiritualist, and theistic, uh, like in the history, right? So if somebody you know uh, people worshipped the fire, they thought it was god. They couldn't explain like where the light is coming from, so they thought it was magic. And simple magic stuff was deemed as witchcraft in history. And while it was just some tricks, or basically it was even like it wasn't even a thing. And even like some cultures have seen music as witchcraft, as magic, right? But now we have uncovered the laws. We know what is fire. We know what is music. That is like you play a guitar, and the vibrations in the air coming to your ears. So your ears are able to perceive it. So that is what is music. You stop playing that guitar and the vibration stop. The process stops. Right. There is no magic here. But somebody who was some cultures who didn't have enough science, they thought like it was like magic or whatever, right? So if you just take a TV or a computer, if you just take GTA 6 and give it to someone from 100 years ago, they would probably say some new world is created inside this screen. But in truth, it's all just hardware, which is the material reality we live in, right? Even your mind is a hardware,
Mm.
right? And it is different for different people, right? So it sees things differently. It is based on a structure, based on an organization. So uh, even brain is hardware, and the opposite of materialism is probably like idealism and the belief in spiritual supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
So this is absolute bullshit, right? So like it's very outright arrogant to believe that uh, everything depends on you seeing it, right? It doesn't really. Like the thing is, like your mind itself is a hardware, right? So yeah, and um, so another thing about materialism is how it applies to our movement is that, so we have to see suffering as a physical fact. It's a process, right? So through evolution, we gained this consciousness. So this all these evolutions, right? Like nature doesn't care about your feelings. To be really honest, it just cares about like the only rule is like survival of the fittest. So if you are a stable chemical, you survive. If you are not a stable chemical, you die. But even conscious being conscious helps you survive, but it doesn't help you be suffering free. It doesn't help you like be peaceful, right? So nature doesn't care about that. So it just wants you to survive, move at the sight of a negative stimuli, right? But this in turn like ends up causing a lot of extreme suffering to organisms. And coming to the point, suffering is a physical reality. It happens. It is a process that occurs within the brain. It is a physical process that occurs within sentient beings. It is very, very real, right? So if you see some people like say they are claiming like it is mental, these idealists and people who are not materialists, people who are spiritual, they claim that you do meditation, you join our cult, and your suffering goes away, right? But that's not the case, right? So they are literally claiming magic can solve it, and uh, this is not some magical stuff that happens to you. This is not something you can just uh, like meditate and stop, or you can just think, be stoic. I mean, can you go and advise a child who is being raped every day to be stoic,
Yeah.
then claim that
It's
suffering is eradicated?
it's like the just world fallacy, right, Steve?
What
This
is
idea that the just world fallacy is this notion that as long as you do everything right, then you'll be fine, right? That there is no such. It's like optimism bias, basically. That like
no? This is completely different. This is like completely like believing in the supernatural, believing in magic. So the alternative to materialism is believing in magic. So materialism is very simple. It's the very base that science is built on. You are made up of atoms, and these atoms have certain rules. Carbon atom has a valency of 4. So it behaves in a certain way. It bonds with the hydrogen this way. It bonds with the other carbon this way. It forms a chain. These are called organic molecules. All this is materialism, right? So except anything except this is believing in supernatural. Like maybe you believe in afterlife, right? This I have explained before. Like just like there is no there is a game called GTA 6, and you just destroy your hard disk. There is no after GTA 6. It's hardware. It's destroyed, right? It's very arrogant for people to assume like, see, humanity always wanted to be in center, right? So our first model of solar system kept Earth in center, right? So we always wanted to be the center of everything. So it's a very arrogant position to take, like idealism, like everything revolves around me, but it doesn't, right? You are made up of reality. You don't make reality. That is the thing. So you are made up of the atoms. These atoms behave a certain way, which makes you, and you start experiencing because you become like that unit of pen drive storing memory, right? So if that drive is destroyed, there is like nothing literally. So that is materialism. It is materialism is science itself. To be really honest, like there's nothing. Uh, So like even like people are trying to force theism, spirituality into science. So there needs to be a talk about materialism so that we can prevent it from happening. And I think all extinctionists should be materialists as much as they are atheists, right? So
Yeah.
idealism gives rise to all kinds of bullshit. So you can literally say like, so we as materialists, we can say that like suffering is a physical process, right? It's negative. All beings suffering, like they are having some negative, very extreme negative event, right? So if you are like cutting a limb of a dog, it is feeling extreme negative pain, right? So that's a physical process. So you cannot advise the dog to meditate.
No.
Yeah, so it cannot be done. So that is what idealism, spirituality, everything proposes. It's in your mind. You can take control of it. Just join my cult, listen to my cult leader, do meditation, do yoga, and all your this thing will be gone, right?
Yeah.
But just imagine, right? Just drinking coffee changes your mind, right? So it's physical reality influencing your mind, right? So these mental disorders, these things need to be dealt with physical medicine. There is nothing you can do like mentally to like. There is no magic you can do to change things. Yeah. So that is the thing. And another like subset of idealism that arises is this crap called moral subjectivity, right?
Mhm.
So again, suffering being a physical fact disproves it. Suffering is bad and it's a physical fact, right? Nobody can say, there is earth is flat because like uh, maybe I think flat earth group has like some uh, 200,000 people or something. So earth is not like subjectively flat, right? So suffering is not subjectively bad. So when it comes to you, it is bad. That is the very definition of suffering, at least the one we use. So it is a fact that every sentient being experiences suffering that they want to avoid, like pain that they want to avoid, emotional or physical pain that they want to avoid. And some of them experience it very extreme, on an extreme level, right? This is a physical fact. You can sit at your home and deny that and say that it's subjective. I believe in flat earth. I believe in I believe that there is no suffering. I believe in morality which allows rape, but it doesn't make sense. It just
Yeah.
makes you. So the thing is that uh, somebody who says okay, Galileo is wrong, Einstein is wrong, they are not. It doesn't mean these people are wrong. It just means the people who say they are wrong, they are broken, right? So they need to be stopped forcefully, like, because it's fact. So nobody can change these facts. So there is no existence of magic, and we live in a physical reality which has defined set of laws, which is made up of matter and which is you know uh, uh, we have all physical processes going on around us. There is no magical processes going on around us, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like and we can study, right? So you are just looking at an ocean. You discovered that the water's property is liquid, right? And the wind is pushing the water towards uh, the beach, right? And then the moon's gravity is causing the tides, right? It's because water has a property of being liquid, right? So whether you are looking at the water or not, it's going to behave the same way because you have studied it, right? It's not like if you go home from the beach and nobody is there, these water, they communicate with each other, they conduct party, and all the water molecules just stand up and dance. It's not like that, right? So like yeah, so everything has physical properties. Some we have studied and some we have yet to study, right? But there is no magic, right? Only existence can only function like within a set of laws. There is nothing like me doing some magic and making a castle. There is no genie inside a lamp. So this is materialism. Like it is science itself. Everything behaves in a certain way, right? Everything has to like there is no supernatural. There is no ghosts. There is no spirit. There is no afterlife. So all these concepts can be disproven by simple science. Yeah, and we cannot like these are like facts. Like nobody can deny, and like people are just making up. So idealism itself is like a concept made up to make convenience based ethics a thing, right? So I agree with all the physical laws, but except for when it comes to Jesus, he turned water into wine, right? Like you cannot be like that, right? If a physicist says this, so he's just practicing like rationality whenever it is convenient for him, right? So yeah, and if you just say that I need to be protected, but if it comes to others, like morality is subjective, I can do like whatever the fuck I want, then suffering isn't bad objectively, like whatever the fuck, right? So like these things are like arrogant, and like these things, this idealism itself is made so that you can stray away from the rationality, you can go away from the truth, right? So you can just tell anything, any bullshit, like of your convenience. I can say like the wall behind me doesn't exist. It only exists because I'm looking at it from the camera. Like if I flip the camera like this, it's gonna disappear and then it's gonna reappear, right? So I would be wrong. This wall is solid. It's always going to exist. We have studied its properties. It's made up of atoms. So that is the thing. Like it should be obvious, but humans, just like the solar system where Earth is the center. So humans have made like complicated concepts and philosophies, and made some lot of word salad bullshit just to justify their convenience. That's it. Materialism is real. There is no magic. There is no God. There is no spirituality, and there is literally like nothing paranormal or supernatural, and subjective morality also doesn't exist. If life exists, it's better off not existing, right? So like even if you see like a planet, if it doesn't have humans, if it just has some animals killing each other, like they cannot make up morality or anything, but still the fact remains that life is better off not existing.
Hmm.
And the fact is let's say a planet has foxes and rabbits starving and killing each other, right? The rabbit is the observer, the fox is the observer, and they are experiencing a bad thing, which is very very if the fox is starving, it's experiencing a bad thing, and nobody can say that it is subjective. Starvation is an objectively bad thing, right? So I think they do a lot of word salad and say that what about masochists? I mean, they're not suffering, right? They're actually having pleasure.
Yeah.
So all these kinds of word salads they do to justify idealism, so that they can justify, convenience based ethics. While fact remains materialism. Materialism is another word for fact. It is another word for science. So, so there is no wordplay you can do like checkmate. So,
Mm.
yeah.
We've got a couple of questions in the chat, unless you want to leave that till the end.
Uh, yeah, we can leave it to the end. I think we can move on to like determinism.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, this determinism is another fact of at least the world at above the quantum level, right? So even the world below the quantum level, it's not proven to be deterministic. It is not proven to have free will as well. So it is either random or it is deterministic. So it needs to be more researched. When that what happens at that level has no effect on classical mechanics of the physics, which is the world we see with our naked eye. So up until this part, I think only scientists will understand, physicists will understand, but it's okay. So I'm just going to explain the important points. So um, so there is something called as a domino effect, right? So everything is in classical mechanics is predictable. So a car is moving in a road on a speed of 60 kilometers per hour. So we are doing math calculations to predict the future, right? So when the car will arrive at this point in time, right? So that is basically determinism. And so like this is all like the bigger level is all like a complex deterministic chain reaction, a domino effect, right? So
Yeah.
everything has a everything has a cause, right? So you don't just do something because you do something, right? So the main thing that we need to discuss that has impact on the movement is determinism in neurobiology, right? So why people behave the way they do, is that like neurobiological determinism. So why do people behave the way they do? It's because you are born with certain genetics, right? You are born with certain genetics, and then you grow up with a lot of environmental inputs, right? So you get some characteristics from your parents, and then you have a lot of memories, a lot of inputs, right? And then there is a matter of like whether your brain was nutritionally well supplied, or did you have any trauma as a kid, and all these factors they shape your brain. And then your brain gets to a certain point after adolescence where your character is literally shaped. So each person has a different character, right? Somebody who's like some people will get like angry a lot. Some people will get uh, you know some people will be calm at all times, right? Some people will have the willpower to go to the gym. Some people like whatever they try, how much ever the effort they put in, they'll not be able to. Some people are good at studies. Some people are like they study a lot, but they don't get they don't understand a math problem. They always fail, right? Why? Because physically these people's brains are different, right? So Einstein's brain is not the same as mine. He had certain parts which were responsible for mathematics, pattern recognition, which had processing power. He had those parts very dominant. So the way he grew up and his genetics, it may be from a mutation or it may be from long generations back, but it made him see the math that nobody else did, right?
Mhm.
So it doesn't mean the other kid was like um, uh, choosing not to do math, but they didn't have the same type of brain that would allow them to say see the math. Maybe they were an artist, right? So this is literally neurobiological determinism. So your choices, whatever you take, there is a illusion of free will, right? So you are thinking that you are just choosing, like um, uh, you know uh, maybe I can think that I'm choosing to do activism, but I am actually not, right? So I am empathetic. So as a result of my empathy, I have that genetics. I have the environmental input, which made certain parts of my brain more dominant, which made me an empath, right? So I am empathetic towards the victims. So I'm literally like forced to help them.
Mhm.
So another thing you might ask, why don't you just pack up and go home? You are free to do so. I am free to do so, but I can literally pack up and go home, and that would be also a part of determinism, because it would be another part of me, like the irrational part, which cannot process the information of determinism, and it is wrongly processing that determinism. I have to test out determinism. I have to like to test whether I have free will or not. I just choose to not do activism, resist my empathy, right? That's a part of irrationality, because determinism just says that you are an empath, you will behave like this. It doesn't say that you should or you shouldn't, right? So if you just experiment like free will, and if you want to like choose and not do it and be miserable, like I'll be totally miserable if I don't like do something to, like, I've always been an activist. I've always been actively involved in something. I was always been desperate to help some sort of sufferers. So if I'm not doing that, then that means that I'll just be miserable, right? So it will cause a lot of pain for me. But still, if
Yeah,
I
if
do that,
you,
I'm just being
but even if,
irrational.
yeah, well, even if you do something like that, Steve, then it's still deterministic because you're just doing it to prove to yourself that you can do it, right? You want to
Yeah,
see,
literally. Yeah,
can I do something irrational, right? Okay, I just did something stupid, okay? But that doesn't prove free will, right? The
yeah,
deterministic machine, which I am, ran a check. Hang on, do I have control? Let me check. Can I do something stupid? Of course. Okay. So even that doesn't make sense, right? That's not a test for free will. It's still deterministic, right?
yeah. I mean, like, just because you are talking about determinism, so you just got like you just want to test it out, so you just clapped your hands, right? So and tested it out. So you are a curious being, right? So humans are a curious being. So when listening to determinism, you would want to do something crazy to test it out. You would want to do this, right? See, I have free will, right? So because you are having like that conversation, and being the curious animal you are forced to do that. And if I quit activism, it's because of it is also because of my irrationality, right? If you take rescuers, they are highly empathetic, but why aren't they extinctionists? Because they are irrational. They think that, just saving one animal and keeping it in their home is going to like help everybody, or whatever, right? So uh, like this is a complex process. A lot of things interfere here and there, and just because you can't see the whole picture, it gives you an illusion of free will, right? You're not able to see that this irrationality of not being able to process the information of determinism is actively interfering and giving you a choice that, okay, you have quit activism, you proved free will, right? So it's giving you an illusion, right? So this is the thing that is happening.
I think part of that illusion as well, Steve, is that like most of the way the mind works on a day-to-day basis, right? When it's actively doing stuff, it's subconscious, right? So you can't actually, you're not aware of all of the factors going into your thoughts and decision making, right? It's like most of it is subconscious to a large degree, right? So because we're not completely aware of why we do things, like have you ever said, well, I don't know why I did that, or I don't know why I said that, right? It's because you're not always aware of fully of the reasons for why you're doing things, and that is
Yeah,
part of the illusion of free will. If you knew
yeah,
exactly why you were doing everything, then where's the free will, right? People that believe in free will say, well, look, we can do anything we want. I can pick this up if I want. But people against it would say, no, you can. It's not that you can do anything you want. It's that you can only do what you want.
I mean, you just proved the domino effect, right? Like, you are discussing free will that tempted you to take this and say, like, I have free will, I picked it up.
Yeah.
That's the domino, right? You wouldn't have done that if it wasn't a debate about free will.
No,
If it was a debate about something else, right?
definitely.
So that's the thing. And yeah, so before we get into how, so we have to get into how this is scientifically grounded. So I've recently read a book called Behave by Robert Sapolsky. Not recently, but it's a long while ago. But so this book, it actually uh, mentions a research being done on racists, right? Not particularly racist, but on racism. So they have two parts: amygdala and prefrontal cortex, right? So these test subjects, they're just taken, and they are shown pictures of people from other races, right? So then their brain activity is measured. So whenever you show them a picture of a person from another race or another religion, their aggressive part, that is the emotional part, that is the amygdala, becomes very active, right? But they have noted difference in two types of people. So for some people, this activity in their amygdala, this aggression towards race, other races, this continues for a while, right? Then there is another group of people, they also get this amygdala activation, they also get a little bit aggressive, and then there is also another part of their brain that is getting active after a few seconds. So that is prefrontal cortex. That is the most recently evolved part of the brain, right? So that is unique to humans, right? So like prefrontal, this much evolved prefrontal cortex, no other animals have. So this is the most recently evolved, and the very thing that differentiates human beings from animals, and responsible for many things, including rationality, good moral judgments, etc., etc. So this part, it becomes active, and it says, uh, it's just someone who's black, no need to be aggressive. It's just someone from another country, no need to be aggressive. He's just a person like you, right? then the activity in the amygdala reduces. So this amygdala and prefrontal cortex, they communicate with each other often. So and the final decision uh, gets taken by whether like I'm just putting it very simply for that like people will understand. But people with bigger amygdalas, more dominant amygdalas, they would be prone to take emotional decisions. They would be racist. They would be taking a emotional decision like joining a spiritual leader, right? They'll be irrational because they are taking emotional decisions, right? And the people who are like TFC dominant, they take like more rational decisions. Okay, there is no reason to discriminate just because James is from Britain. There is no reason for me to discriminate James, right? So he feels the same pain as me. So this is the part where prefrontal cortex comes in. It passes good moral judgment. It passes. Uh, it takes and combines the empathy you get with the rationality and gives you the more rational conclusions, right? So determinism is clear, like in this research, right? So this race is, they are not choosing to be racist. It is a physical defect. They are broken, right? What they are
That's
doing is bad. Like that doesn't change the fact. Like
even Hitler, right? You know, he had no choice in that. And that's why there's no point for Hitler to be in hell or to be tortured after the fact, right?
exactly. Like you can even like Google like if this researches doesn't satisfy you, you don't even need to read the book called Behave. Just read about sadism disorder, how these people are compelled to torture animals, how these people are like forced to become serial killers, right? See,
Right.
that doesn't make them what they are doing like not bad or less bad or whatever. Like, but the thing is, it makes them broken, and it gives us every right to forcefully stop them. Right? It gives us the right to forcefully stop a rapist because he's broken. Right? He's like the Terminator machine who went rogue and who's taking and torturing and raping people. Right? So this is a physical fact, and nobody can deny that. Yeah, James, you wanted to say something.
No, that's pretty amazing, Steve. Great point there, really. But yeah, I was just going to say, really, you know, that yeah, no one chooses this life, no one chooses the brain they're born with, right?
Exactly.
And so, you know, Hitler had no choice in the matter. It may have looked like it, but I think really people like to kind of have this, like, you can't judge people fully, right? Like you said, if they're broken, it's not their fault. So no one signed up for that. That's not because of a choice that they made, right? They didn't choose, no one chose to be Hitler.
See, I think that is exactly opposite. I think we are actually judging them, right? So, like, just as much as
But
Einstein.
ultimately, you wouldn't judge their, you know, existence having come into about, you know. It's like, it's not Hitler's fault he was born, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, that is the thing. But that
But
actually, this.
my major point is that, you know, like, everyone is equal, innocent in that regard, right? So no one deserves to suffer unnecessarily, right? Even Hitler, you know, there's no point torturing him afterwards. There's no point in anyone suffering. Everyone's equal in that respect, right?
No, yeah, maybe in that aspect, but I don't think everybody is equal, right? I think we can like that. See, determinism being an objective fact exactly gives us the right to actually judge them. We can say they are broken, right? These people are broken, right? It's a physical, like that's what I'm saying. Like racists have a physical defect, right? It gives us the exact right to say like they are broken. It gives us the right to judge them, right? So they need to be fixed forcefully. So it gives us the exact thing. So it also says that like convincing. So modern movements try to convince everybody, right? So you can never convince a broken person. So no matter how much videos you make of mathematics, someone who doesn't have the ability to understand mathematics is never going to get it. That doesn't mean that math problem doesn't exist, or it's not right, right? It just means that person is broken, and he's not, like, he has a defect, which even I have a defect. I'm not good at math, right? So I have a defect. So maybe I'm good at rationality, I'm good at like existential ethics, but I'm not good at mathematics, right? So I have a defect. So that doesn't mean that like I don't understand the math behind relativity yet. So that doesn't mean that it's not right, right? So yeah, and because it's experimentally proven, right? And me not understanding how gravity works, or uh, how earth revolves around the sun, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, right? So it just means that I am broken, I have a defect. I cannot go beyond theism, I cannot go beyond racism. uh, I'm a physiological defect, just like a person who doesn't have limbs. He cannot be forced to run. I If I have a bigger amygdala, I cannot be forced to be, like, I mean, I you literally have to force me, and that is the exact thing that gives you the right to force me, right? Because you have the equation, right? You are the Einstein. You can solve the math, right? You have the right equipments, you have the empathy, you have the fact that, like, for example, a psychopath who's standing in front of a woman he is going to rape and torture and murder, he doesn't have it in him. Like, he doesn't have mirror neurons. He cannot see, like, okay, that person is going to suffer, and he is not, he's probably like, like, it's not bad, right? But you have the right equipments to say that it is bad, right? That doesn't make him right, that just makes him defective, right? So this is the exact thing that gives you the right to stop him, right? So this is the exact thing that tells you, like, you cannot convince everybody. Everybody has some physical defects. You cannot go and argue with a psychopath, like, the woman raped is going to have some pain, and he's never going to get you. And you cannot go and argue with a racist. He's born with the genetics. Genetics is a fact that we have been taught from the 7th grade, right? So he's born with the genetics. And so all these are like physical facts. So genetics is a physical fact, right? So you are born with some genetics, and uh, you behave certain way. In a certain way, you might behave like your father. You might have some characteristics from your grandfather, from your mother, from your grandmother. This is a fact that doesn't even need science. It's an observable fact, right? You're observing it every day, right? When absolute, even an absolutely dumb idiot would say, like, the baby looks like you. He has his mother's eyes, right? So genetics is an observable fact. You don't need to get into the science, right? So obviously, even these kinds of characteristics, narcissism is passed on. We even, like, see people, like, the son would be like very money minded, like the father or the grandfather, right? So all these traits can be passed down, and they can also, environmental factor has a say in it. And so this is why extinctionism should realize this determinism as a fact. So we shouldn't function like the other modern movements. We shouldn't go behind everybody trying to convince them, right? In history, nobody has ever done that. So as I said before many times, like, even in 1954. Even till now, like US has a lot of racists. A racist is the president there, right?
Yeah, it's
So
it's the
it's like,
majority are racist, right?
yeah, it means that the majority are still racist. So still, like how they, like the other movements, they realize this and they smartly, they achieved civil rights, and they went for literal war, right? Because only 1% of the population is always going to fight for, maybe even lesser than that, actively fighting for a cause. 99% of the people are like, I don't give a shit either way, right? So it's gonna be like that. So they smartly recognize that, so they forced it, right? They forced the broken people, the broken system. They didn't go to a racist and convince them to free the slaves, right? They forced the system. They went to a war with them, right? They went to, maybe the judicial system, which is insulated from the public opinion. So they tried boycotting. They tried, hurting the economy, so that like, the government has to listen to them. So all these strategies, smart strategies, are employed by the activists to achieve what they want. But never in the world ever has a cause successfully convinced everybody of something, right? So it has never happened. It is precisely because of these physical differences in brain. You and the other person is not going to be the same. Only empaths are going to agree with you. Only rational people are going to agree with you. And extinctionism movement, pro extinction movement, always have to be grounded on these two scientific facts: determinism and materialism. And another last thing we have to talk when it comes to determinism is obviously reproduction, right? So this is where the problem comes. So many morons out there are claiming to be like, oh, I'm an extinctionist, but I won't have a child. It's so bad to, like force a child into the existence. Okay, so I have to debunk this on several stages, with determinism, with science, and with logic also. So the first thing is that, obviously we have mentioned this in debunking antinatalism, but yeah, there is a problem out there, and it is not only for humans. The suffering is not only a problem for humans. 99.9% of the sufferers are animals, right? And the extinction is going to be a multi-generational project if you want to cause the most vast and most thorough extinction possible, right? Because that is the only thing that makes sense, right? I'm not like settling for anything less is bigotry, right? So I'm not going to argue all the ethics like anti-speciesism right now. Just I'm just talking to people who are like, anti-natalist plus extinctionist. So like pro-lifers are more intelligent than you in this aspect. Right? So you're dumber than pro-lifers. So like, every time I say this, like extinctionists should reproduce, these people are like, is extinctionism passed on through genetics? Like you just fuck a woman and an extinctionist kid is born? No, I fuck a woman, right? And an empathetic, a kid with a chance of being an empath is born. A kid with a chance of being rational is born, right? So this is where pro-lifers are more intelligent than you. Like you can see pro-lifers saying like, he is as kind as his mother. They recognize the scientific fact of genetics affecting the character of the child. Kindness is a trait that can be passed on. Empathy is a trait that can be passed on. Even pro-lifers are more intelligent to recognize that.
If
You
if
people are like
pro-lifers
dumb.
if pro-lifers knew we were trying to reproduce to make extinctionists, they would be terrified, right? So why did they see how it's a good idea, but you can't?
Yeah. So the thing is that so even pro-lifers know, like they say statements like he's as kind as his mother, he's like very money-minded as his father. They see like a person's character, like kindness, empathy can be passed on by genetics, and it is true. You cannot go ahead and disprove genetics with all your anecdotal evidences. Oh, that father was a cop and the son was a thief. There are exceptional cases, and there is also a factor of environment, which can actually a childhood trauma can mess up things, right? So I'm not saying my child will be 100% extinctionist, but just imagine a person who's like a total racist. He has been like amygdala dominant for generations, right? So his whole family is like so aggressive, violent, and they are breeding amongst themselves, and
Mhm.
right. So I mean, again, I could even go into selective breeding, but I know you morons will never understand it. It's also a scientific concept. Yeah. So yeah. So these people are going to reproduce anyway, right? So in this world, the reproduction depends on like the population, right? So if you don't so the reproduction and the population depends on population of a species depends on resources. So if you don't reproduce, it means that a person who's a racist, who's a narcissist, who's a sadist, who's a pro-lifer, who has no empathetic trait in his whole generation, he is going to reproduce and take your child's place. Now, what's better? Who do you want? Like Steve's kids or a racist trucker in
Mhm.
USA who's voting for Trump and telling Charlie Kirk is a martyr? Whose kids do you want? Right? So it doesn't make sense. If they are not going to reproduce, let's say that you made them anti-natalists as well, somehow magically, right? It's not going to happen. Again, you cannot convince them. But what's going to happen is that these resources is going to go to wild animals. They also suffer pointlessly. Again, they would. I mean, who would you rather have? A human who is able to help everybody, who's able to work for extinction, who has at least a chance at working for extinction, or an animal suffering pointlessly? Is a wild animal going to come and fight for extinction? So you are just deluding yourself that you are reducing suffering by not having a child. You are actually contributing to it, right? You are wasting your empathetic genes. You are wasting your I mean, it might not matter like at the moment because extinctionists are less, but imagine the movement is obviously going to get to a point. At least we have 100,000 extinctionists who are going to go extinct if they follow your logic, right? So just imagine, right? So you're literally like again like you're either being like dumb idiots or like bigots. You're just saying that another like let pro life kids suffer. My child, like a child looking like me, shouldn't suffer. What's the point? At least your kid has a better chance of being an empath. And you're just saying that like let wild animals suffer. I'll never make the mistake of having a child. You're just like making wild animals suffer pointlessly because like you had to follow a cult called antinatalism, right? But science and logic completely debunks that. You only total extinction can solve suffering. Until then, like it doesn't matter whether your child suffers or wild animals suffer or pro-life children suffer. you should do whatever it takes to maximize the chance at scientifically grounded, logically grounded ways. You should do whatever it takes to achieve extinction. Nothing else matters. So today there is equal opportunity. So if you take traditional evolution, right? A person with the diabetes would die if he is in a forest. Imagine, right? He will never get to a point where he could reproduce. He's gonna get diabetic. He's gonna die. So a person with like some kind of disorder, like a heart problem, he's going to die. So uh, this will be like wiped out by natural selection. But now we have invented medicine, so a diabetic person has an equal opportunity to reproduce and pass his diabetic genes, right? Same way, a narcissist has an equal opportunity to reproduce and pass his narcissistic genes. A racist has an equal opportunity to reproduce. A sadist has an equal opportunity to reproduce. So if you are being dumb, if you be totally dumb, right, there is a minute chance where like imagine, right, let's say these empaths and rationalists are red paint, and pro-lifers are blue paint. Sadists, the rapists, and the people who privileged oppress are, everybody is blue paint, right? So both are adding droplets of paint into a bucket. So you just imagine the paint is their gene pool, right? So you just imagine pro-lifers pouring buckets and buckets of blue paint, right? And you are just like, no, I'm very rational. I want, you know, force a
I
kid
would.
into the
I'll
existence.
adopt some blue paint and try to make it red.
Yeah. So I mean that's never going to happen, right? So these people, they claim that. So so even I used to say this. I used to say that, and until I read the actual science, I used to say that I don't need to reproduce, right? There is always going to be pro-lifers reproducing, and I just have to make these YouTube videos. These pro-life kids, they don't necessarily have to be like parents, and if they just see my YouTube video, they can just change. But imagine the YouTube watching pro-lifers baby doesn't have any prefrontal cortex activity, right? So he has a more dominant amygdala. Whatever videos I do, he's going to say, extinction, you first. He's just gonna comment it, right? Why don't you kill yourself, right? All these extinctionism is so extreme. You stubbed your toe and you want to cut off your foot. That's what the amygdala kid is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it has been doing, right? So it will be delusional of us to not recognize any signs. So and logic also, like there is literally nothing like, you if you don't have kids, like you don't even need to go to science. Let's say that my kid doesn't have any chance of being an extinctionist or chance of being an empath. Like what literal difference does it make whether my kid suffers or others kids suffer, or wild animals suffer? What literal, like you just tell me, like only if you are a bigot you can point out a difference here. Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's such a simple concept. It's something that we all learnt about in school, and yeah, it's amazing that such a large group of extinctionists are that irrational and are completely going against the movement. Basically,
Yeah.
it's like you said, Steve. We have to give 100%, right? More than 100%, maximum effort and security. Contingency, survival for the movement, everything, right? There's so much on the line, we have to give it all. And to hold back and say, well, let's reduce a little bit of suffering, right? It's suffering
Yeah.
reduction, but selfish suffering reduction.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I wouldn't suggest, extinctionists with bad financial situation to reproduce, right? So I think, like, going forward, I have to lay each and every word down. We are being taken literally, right? So yeah, it wouldn't make sense. And like, if a person who is not able to feed their kid is going to reproduce, and the kid is not having correct nutrition growing up, it's not going to be empathetic. It's going to be a narcissist. Poverty increases narcissism. Bad nutrition increases narcissism. It just switches your board for like circuits from the empathetic phase to the narcissistic phase while growing up. Not being emotionally available increases narcissism. I wouldn't suggest a person with a the genetic disorder to reproduce, even if he is an extinctionist. I wouldn't suggest a person with a mental disorder or a history of cancer or diabetes to reproduce. Right. So I'm not going to do that, because that is going to increase suffering and, quite frankly, reduces the chance of the not even reduce. Like, there is literally no chance if you are under poverty. Like, you are going to, like, raise a kid that is extinctionist and not narcissist. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. Like, but otherwise, I mean, if you are healthy, you can donate sperms. You can have a kid yourself if you have time. And I do recognize that I'll never, like, say that, all these things, like, even if you cause extinction, like, the pain that extinction is going to cause, extinction is going to cause, the suffering it's going to cause is bad, and reproduction is bad, it's evil. But always we are a practical movement that recognizes life is not so black and white. Sometimes you have to cause some suffering in order to prevent greater suffering. Letting animals continue, not causing the optimal extinction, or letting life continue would be a larger pain. So, practically, rationally, a person should take the decision that favors the greater good. So, anyone else would be delusional, right? So, if you are delusionally saying, like, I'll just save, I'll just literally burn 100 people alive to save one person, they are just bullshitting, delusional. That's it. So
It's like rescue.
that's a sort of that's a sort of a disclaimer. Like, reproduction is always evil, but sometimes we are forced into a situation where we have to take the decision for the lesser evil. And again, it's not going to make a big difference on a holistic level of suffering. So yeah, and even like, the suffering extinction is going to cause, that is also bad. But letting life continue is a greater evil.
Mhm.
That's it. Yeah, we just are like the people with brains who come out and say that, okay, like, if Hitler needs to be stopped, he needs to be killed as well. So you don't, like, if you are against killing, the first person you should kill is Hitler. Yeah, other people are like in a delusion, like, we can change him, we can convince him, we can be optimistic, we can lick his boots, uh whatever.
He
we
might
can, we
use
can
his
tell him
free,
to
he might
meditate.
use his free will to decide not to be Hitler. So if we kill him,
Yeah,
then we're removing his free will to not be Hitler, Steve.
yeah.
Can't-
He can also meditate.
yeah.
We can all meditate around Hitler and transfer the collective consciousness of peace into Hitler. Yeah. I mean, the kind of crap we have seen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can take
Okay.
questions, I guess.
Great. James, do you have any extinctionist friends in Britain? As far as we know, there aren't any extinction. Did I just cut out?
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as we know, there aren't any extinctionists in Britain yet. We're hoping to get some soon. Society is not ready to accept extinction. I couldn't agree more. That's that's why we need extinction.
I mean, what's the point of activism then?
Yeah.
Like if everybody is ready to accept extinction, like why are they can just accept and do it, right? I don't have to suffer doing activism here.
No, Steve, what you have to do is you have to wait 50 years and then do activism because society will be ready. That's literally
Yeah.
what Jivan was saying, right?
I mean, every the point of every movement, literally what we explained, right? This comment came early or later, I don't know. Like literally, that's what we explained. Like society was never ready to accept anything. Still, that Trump moron is the president. They didn't accept. Like I just saw some debates like people trashing gay people, transgender people. They even compared like I just saw some like right wingers debate against LGBT. They compared being gay to pedophilia, and they said it needs to be stopped. But the LGBT rights is already like achieved in many states. I think.
Basically, you want all to be transhumanists until cosmic extinction. This is the exact same thing that Roswen was saying, was that
Wait
by
a second. Wait a second. What the fuck is he even saying? Like,
yeah, this
I mean,
exactly. This is the exact same thing Roswen was saying, that if extinctionists have children,
bro,
then it's transhuman.
bro, I don't like.
Yeah,
I
it's the
don't even
same.
understand. This
It's
doesn't
the
make
same
any
logic.
sense. Go towards progress. See, basically, we are not advocating for transhumanism. Like eradicating suffering with technology is a bullshit. Like we can debunk it with current known science. It's not happening. Like you can go watch my thousands of videos debunking transhumanism. Uh, So go towards progress and technology in terms of causing extinction and maintain society till causing extinction. I don't think like even in an extinctionist society, I won't be able to control a few animals being farmed illegally. Right? Even in an extinctionist society, I cannot guarantee zero rape. That is the exact point why we need to cause extinction. Even if I became the world's dictator tomorrow and everything is under my control, I cannot stop rapes. I cannot stop animal farming. I can never do it. And I cannot stop a lion from tearing apart a zebra. What would I do? Right? So I cannot go and stop the ants from eating the grasshopper alive. I cannot like literally go and stand between people and a tsunami. Like that's transhumanism is impossible. Basically, I just want to run the society until we cause a optimal extinction. That's it. I don't want to cause an half-assed extinction. That's it, because that would be useless for everybody.
So yeah, my take on this transhumanism question, right, is you have these people saying, "Oh, so you want to be transhumanist?" And it's like, bro, what the hell are you talking about? We don't want utopia, okay? That's for morons, right? But we're not against societal progress or like curing diseases, right? I mean, these morons just can't understand the difference between progressing as a society towards extinction in a rational way versus like this all or nothing kind of silliness where, you know, if you're an extinctionist, then you have to be against the development of medicine and technology and science, right? It's just stupid. Okay.
See, you found a cure for a disease doesn't mean another disease won't start, right? So transhumanists are saying like you will go to a point where all diseases will be cured with one tablet. That is not going to happen. In fact, for diagnosing a disease itself, you need to have suffering. You need to be able to tell the doctor that you have a stomach pain. That is the kind of delusional bullshit transhumanists are in. Transhumanism is debunked by science. Like science disproves utopia. As long as sentient beings exist, suffering will exist. Unless you just like, because like suffering is not a single thing. Like it is sentience itself. Like you have anxiety, fear, pain, depression, sadness, anger, all kinds of emotional stuff, physical pain, and all kinds of complicated stuff. And just removing everything just means that you become a plant. So I don't know what transhumanists are advocating for. So I am advocating for maintaining society until causing the most vast and the thorough extinction possible.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't want to do this, but I am going to bring up and screen share Roswin's comment that I took issue with, because I do feel like it gets to the core of this question, Steve. So just give me a second. Okay. So there we go. So we would have to introduce technology into this eugenics plan, which all I said was, yes, extinctionists should have children. So Roswin thinks that it's eugenics, that like, but it's just selective breeding, right? It's just so stupid. So, and then even if using technology does work to improve the human race, which is going to happen anyway, right? Extinctionists are not saying we're against improvement of society, right? As society progresses over the next few hundred years, that's going to help everything towards extinction, right? The pro-lifers won't realize it, but they'll be developing science and technology, transhumanist kind of stuff, where it's, whether it's like a computer in your lens in your eye, or whether it's like a chip in your brain, right? All of these things are going to happen, unless we get the red button tomorrow. Okay, so pro-life technology is developing towards transhumanism, right? And Steve will say, well, it's impossible. Okay, yes, ending all suffering is impossible, but pro-lifers will work towards it, okay? Even if it is impossible. They will be working on curing diseases, working on new technology. So all of that is going to just help extinction at the end of the day, if we have access to the same developments, right? But to say that like we want technology to improve because it's going to help in extinction, or that we're going to benefit from these improvements, doesn't mean that we're transhumanist. Okay, I mean, you've got two sort of definitions of transhumanism here. You have one where it's utopia, right? So it's a pro-life utopia project of, we are going to have heaven, the Matrix, and all that stupid shit, right? There'll be all sorts of pleasure. And then you have the other understanding of transhumanism, which is kind of just working towards reducing suffering or progressing society. Okay, so we are against utopia because it's a pipe dream, it's dangerous, it's a waste of time and resources. We're not going to work towards any sort of utopia. But the pro-life society is going to be developing things and progressing anyway. Okay, so we're not going to say, oh, you developed a cure for this disease I have. Well, I'm an extinctionist, so I'm not going to take the cure, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. We are not advocating for the first kind. We are like not against the second kind. And if you think about it, like as I point out that a lot of times, internet can be internet also can be considered transhumanism, the progress in technology, right? The second kind. But it started a lot of new sufferings for people, right? So child porn wasn't an industry before, and they're literally like I heard like they're literally selling human body parts on dark web. And there are dedicated dark web pages where they torture animals and upload the videos for sadists to watch and pay in bitcoins. So these were all not an industries before. Like it caused a lot of new sufferings. So we just say that like we are not against technological progress. So we are just saying that this will not reduce any suffering. It will just grant new suffering. Like for example, like inventing guns, right? It can be used as like a protection. Also, it can be used as to offend. Also, terrorists use guns. The military use guns. Police use guns. Criminals use guns. Right. So you cannot say that this technology has made the world a better place, but it would probably like have been invented to like defend yourself better, right? Yeah, and yeah, even if it was like invented for the other thing, like yeah, like everything keeps evolving, right? The police evolves, the criminal evolves, the cure evolves, the disease evolves, right? You invent antibiotics. You got antibiotic resistant strains now, which you are studying and developing new medicines. Now, bacteria and microorganisms that are resistant to those medicines are showing up. So you just have to be in a constant war, right? Of survival. That is life exactly. Like no technology is going to solve it.
I mean, Doc, this was literally in the frequently asked questions which I gave to you. So you've got no excuse to be saying such nonsense. Like the idea that non-existence is something we can't have in totality, and therefore we shouldn't even try, is just stupid, right? Like, again, you have more against cosmic extinction, and they lump it in with all wildlife animal extinction too. So why does cosmic extinction being invalid, in your opinion, make wildlife extinction invalid? It doesn't, right? So you are just disagreeing with a small part of extinction, but you don't realize it.
See, we cause as much as extinction as possible. So if it's just Earth, right? So and let's say there are like 100 planets on the universe. That is minus one, right? So we should go for it if we can go bigger. But if it becomes logically impossible, right? So there are like there is a room, and a child is being raped inside that room, and you scientifically analyze that room, and then you come to a conclusion that this room is unenterable. That is a physical law of that room, right? Then it doesn't mean that what is happening inside is not bad. It just makes sense for you to focus on the rape that is happening outside, which will like be minusing at least that one rape. You cannot use that room as an excuse to justify both of those rapes, which is exactly what you are doing.
Well said.
Yeah.
Just destroyed that guy. Nice. There we go. No evidence of sentient life anywhere else in the universe. And even if there is alien life, they might make themselves go extinct. Again, it's just like another argument for convenience, right?
Yeah.
It's like we didn't hear any screams coming from inside that room. So let's not even try to open the door and look.
Yeah. And like it's not even like that. I think we have clear what makes life is especially the macromolecules. If you look at it, it's four major things, which is nucleic acids, amino acids, which are proteins, base of proteins, and fats or fatty acids, right? These are the major macromolecules, and yeah, carbohydrates. So these are the four major macromolecules that make life, right? So out of these four, three have been found in asteroids in space. You are actually getting the scream, right? So only there is evidence, a tint, a faint scream being heard.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna check out like whether that is a girl or like not. And it is very very like arrogant of you to assume like there is no life, even if like Earth like planets are rare. Like it's actually like another scientific fact which I have spoken here. The metallicity of the universe is increasing, which means that life supporting factors like heavy elements which cause plate tectonics, which keeps a planet stable, and all these other things which contribute to life are actually like increasing. Third spirals of the galaxies which have just recently formed and are like generating stars, right? They are in the habitable zone, and they have just recently formed compared to like the second spirals and first spirals, right? So if you combine all these factors, like then like the next 10 billion years maybe the hotspot for earth like planets. And yeah, you already have an evidence to like you can just google it, like you have evidence like uh, three of the macromolecules that have formed life have been found on asteroids itself. Right. The other one is carbohydrates, which have not been found because they are so fragile and they cannot withstand the UV radiation and the radiation in space, basically. So even simpler forms of carbohydrates, like or at least like the base molecules, have been found, like traces. They are not literal carbohydrates, but maybe pre-carbohydrates, right? So they have been found. I think it's I don't know like what molecules they were. Like I don't remember. But you can just Google them. Yeah.
What kind of activism can we do in our respective countries right now? I think when we grow even more, we will become illegal. As it is now in Russia, LGBT and child free are not legal. Well, to answer the first question, you can do activism from any country except for North Korea, probably. You need the internet or some sort of communication. Most people at the minute are doing online activism. It's accessible, it's relatively easy, and you can help quite a lot, right? I mean, obviously you can do street activism, and we encourage that even. If that's something that you're capable of doing, sure.
See, most
Basically,
most
as
movement.
activists, we do a lot. As activists, we are fully integrated into the movement. We are the movement. So we don't usually focus on one type of activism, each person, right? A lot of us are working on lots of different projects together or individually. So it's quite, we're doing as much as we can. In terms of activism that you could do right now, if you wanted, there's lots of Reddit activism. You can make videos on YouTube. You can do content creation. There's lots of projects that we're working on. We want a website. We want to register as an NGO. But basically, if you activism, you'll find what you're good at. Because there's lots of different types of activism that we do. So you'll find what works for you. We'll support you with it. We'd be talking almost every day if we're working together on things. So yeah, I mean, we have to do as much as we can, really. Right now, what kind of activism we're doing is gathering paths, gathering people together to make a team, right? And to start the movement and to grow it. That's the priority, right? Like we're not as powerful of an organization as we want to be or need to be, And we can only really achieve that once we have more people. So that's our priority.
See, literally, like many movements, like they were like deemed as illegal when they gained attention. That didn't stop them from coming out, right? So, like even like if you take physics, right? If you argue against the Bible and say that Earth is not in the center, or like anything else that is a fact, if you scientifically say the fact, you will be persecuted for it. But still those are illegal, right, to talk against the Bible. Like still those facts came out, right? So uh, um, and literally, like any movement, if you take, like it met with hard, at most times, physical resistance from the oppressor, right? They just make the society, they make the rules. They say that owning slaves is fine, killing, burning women is fine. Lower caste people should slave away for low wages. They just make all these sorts of rules, and if you disobey them, literally you will be met with the resistance. Right? That is how every every movement has had resistance. And my thing I would say, tell you is, again, you are like, just right now it is legal, right? Only child, maybe you are from Russia, only child free and LGBT is illegal, right? Extinctionism allows reproduction, so until cosmic extinction, so advocate for it. I even know of groups, Russian groups advocating for extinction, even including anti-natalism. I don't know how they do that with the VPN or whatever. They are not caught yet. And you are just using it as an excuse to not do activism. You do activism first. You do some activism for sufferers.
Yeah, I mean, like as you said, it might become illegal, but it isn't illegal now, and we are against being child free.
Yeah,
So just
it's
say,
illegal. That doesn't stop my movement, right? Me and James will have a call. We'll discuss. Discuss how to get around
yeah, exactly.
it.
And
Yeah.
even if there was only a specific type of activism, a certain way of being helpful, right? There's always going to be something you can do. If you're
Yes.
truly motivated towards helping the sufferers and victims, then you will find a way,
Yeah.
right? Though we're more than happy to provide help with figuring out how to be an activist if you want.
We
Okay,
even already do, like, see, in certain social medias, like, we are banned. Extinctions are banned. We do reverse activism to get around it, right? So we have a lot of ideas going on already.
I'm not really sure I understand this guy's arguments here that we're putting up on the screen.
Hmm.
Is he talking to us? Okay, let's just go with someone else while we figure that out. I've
Yeah.
started eating goat and chicken, but I will not have a child as long as I remain poor. I get married, but not a. What the hell is this?
But how can I find? This might be the, like, uh, troll who was obsessed with extinctionist girlfriend.
Right.
I mean, you literally don't have to have an extinctionist girlfriend.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Especially, especially if you are not going to have a child. Why? Why do you want an extinctionist girlfriend? Yeah, you don't even need to have a girlfriend. That is not even an obligation. Like,
If
fighting
you want
against
an
suffering is an
extinctionist
obligation.
girlfriend, if you want an extinctionist girlfriend, go do some extinctionist activism until you get one. Right.
But I wouldn't suggest doing activism for that.
As long as it's
Do
good activism.
activism for rational and suffering reasons. Yeah, I think we can just skip this question. Yeah. Group or not, and I am afraid of karma and like what the fuck have you even been listening, bro?
I,
I
I
have
don't
to
really
become
know.
an animal in my next life. Hopefully, I'll try to cause extinction and prevent you from being born in the next life as a goat
Well, this
who
is
gets
just an
married to an Islamist.
there's some sort of argument going on in our chat, but I can't really make heads or tails of it because it looks like a subjective morality debate, so it's just nonsense.
What is going on? Like if something is really funny, just pop it up. We can just troll them. You would necessarily have the capability. Uh, yeah, literally doesn't make any sense.
Well, to respond to this point, that you would be a hypocrite and a speciesist if you didn't cause universe-wide extinction. I mean, that's the hope, right? Extinction as vast and thorough as possible, right? Anything else would be just irrational. So
Again, coming
we're
back to the black room example, right? So the room is not enterable doesn't make me like an immoral person, doesn't make that event a not bad thing that is happening in there. It just means that I'm not I have to be practical. I have to accept facts and help whoever I can. That's it. So it doesn't mean that I have to go and
oh, hang on, Steve.
um,
He's saying that we've skipped point 3 of his argument. So I'm now going to put. I can't see a point 1. I don't know. Show us your point 1 if you're that bloody bothered about
wait,
it.
isn't this guy a pro-lifer himself? I don't know.
Yeah, I
Didn't he
mean,
argue against extinction?
no, I think Dylan is extinctionist, and I think this guy is anti-extinction.
Okay.
Bro, look, if you want to come and debate us, all right, let's not do it through some confusing YouTube comments. Come on the stream now if you want. We'll debate you right now if you like, or we can arrange a time that suits you better. Let us know in the comments if anyone wants to debate us. We will do a live stream on YouTube with you and tear you a new anus. All right. I'm not seeing anything else come through the chat now. So, again, if anyone wants to debate us, we can organize a day and a time. Let us know. Join our subreddit for the movement. Get active if you want to help end suffering for all. Cosmic Extinction subreddit. Join our Discord. Ask us how you can help, and we will give you advice on how you can join the activist movement and take the world in the right direction. End victimization and suffering. It's the right thing to do. So I'm still trying
So
to.
whoever wants to debate us, you can DM me on my channel, Pro Extinction Instagram channel, or you can just leave a comment. I want to debate you live, and we can give a Discord link or like set a time in the Discord chat. And you can also message any mods on our Cosmic Extinction subreddit. Yeah. Cool. See you guys in the next podcast. And what would be the topic?
Well, I think we'll have to just decide that for next time.
Okay.
Unless you have
Cool.
ideas.
No, we'll decide later.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. See you later.